Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Brooklyn's Finest, starring Richard Gere, Don Cheadle, Ethan Hawke, Will Patton, Lily Taylor, Brian F. O'Byrne, Shannon Kane, Ellen Barkin, and Wesley Snipes, directed by Antoine Fuqua. Now, I have seen this movie before back in the day when it was in theaters, but I haven't seen it since. Is it as good as I remember? Well, let's get into it. We open with Sal, played by Ethan Hawke, sitting in a car and having a conversation with Carlo, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, as he suddenly shoots him to death. And I thought, what the fuck is that all about? As it goes absolutely nowhere. And this is a long movie at 2 hours and 12 minutes, as it doesn't have to be a point. It doesn't have a point, but introduces Sal as a corrupt cop. Maybe he must have learned that from Denzel in Training Day to become a corrupt cop here. Eddie, played by Richard Gere, wakes up, and the only thing I know about this character is two things. One is he and his wife are separated, and two, he's retiring within a few days. And the cop characters are not as interesting as the criminal characters. We get introduced to Tango, played by Don Cheadle, as he drives by a crime scene where a young African American kid gets killed by the cops, while Tango goes to a homie's house and sees the crime scene from the window, and he's a character I can connect with when he's a criminal, I'll say. And some goes to another character, and same goes to another character that chills with him later in the film. I'll get there when I get there. Sal confesses to a priest that he killed someone and needs God's help and runs out rather quickly, and the scenes are shot worse than in Training Day, as the cinematography looks kind of bad. While I don't like the cops in this movie, as I prefer the criminals, Eddie goes to the captain's office to train a rookie, while Tango meets with Lieutenant Bob Hobarts, played by Will Patton. As we learn, Tango is an undercover cop, as he explains to Bill, and he got arrested while chilling with his homie, as well as his own divorce, as he gets the divorce papers from his. And the dialogue is maybe the best thing about the movie, in my opinion, because it feels like real life. Eddie teaches the rookie how to be a good cop, but while Eddie goes inside a store, he tries to make an arrest to a couple arguing after seeing a guy hitting a woman, and Eddie tells him to stop fucking around, while Tango calls his ex-wife Alyssa and stops a police officer from giving him a parking ticket, and Sal goes home to his constant sick wife Angela, played by Lily Taylor, along with his two sons and a daughter, while Tango almost picks a fight in a joking way with Kaz, played by Wesley Snipes, because they're friends as he's just got out of prison. And that's the other character I really like because of Wesley Snipes, as he's the best thing about this movie, in my opinion, also. Eddie sees a red-headed girl being harassed by a couple of guys treating her like a hooker, as that will be important later in the movie, as he fucks another woman named Chantel while she works as a hooker herself. And this movie is so bland, like it's leaving me in a damn freezer and freezing me to death. Sal and other cops make an arrest as Sal beats up on one African American man, and it's so damn brutal to watch the police brutally attack some people, as that could be on the news all the damn time, as that subject always leaves me cold. And Judas and the Black Messiah can get away with that because it's a biopic, but this movie is not a biopic. Tango meets with Bill and Agent Smith, played by Ellen Barkin, as he declines her offer to work with her and becomes a pain in the ass, as she's becoming a pain in my ass as well. And I had to look her up because I swear to God I've seen her before, and I realized I reviewed her before as Al Pacino's secretary in Ocean's 13. And Tango walks out after tormenting him about Alyssa, which is a bitchy move to begin with. Sal has a poker game with the guys while smoking cigarettes, until one of his kids comes in and beats up on one of his buddies for being a racist motherfucker, while Angela is expecting twins while he has no room in his house for any more kids at this time, while he can't pay his fucking rent. And Ethan Hawke does a terrible job in this movie, as he turns in better work as a cop in Training Day than in this movie. Eddie gets another rookie after the rookie turns out to be a terrible partner for Eddie, while Tango walks by them And he and Kaz are scared. Yeah, he and Kaz are scared for their lives, while Eddie sees some redhead girl he saw in the missing photo, and I just don't care any further, which is a real big problem. Eddie and the rookie stop by a store and sees a clerk and an African American kid go at it with each other, and the rookie accidentally shoots the kid dead, while Tango and Kaz beat up on a kid for the arrest Sal had earlier, and snitching on them when he didn't do it to begin with. Sal making another arrest and finding money as this is getting more and more sad, but it's not making me cry, but I just don't care at this point in this movie. Eddie gets in trouble briefly while the rookie gets in deep shit. While I'm sitting there thinking this needs some trimming down in the editing room as things are happening, but more should be happening after drinking with some homies. Tango expects a call from Alyssa and thinks in the bathroom and kicks some guy out of the bathroom, and Eddie is officially retired. And Tango calls Bill and tells him he's off the case, and Bill is close to getting Kaz and Tango, warning Kaz to get out of town as Kaz gets shot by some people who works for Bill. And I'm going to miss Kaz, as he was the best thing about this whole movie as far as I'm concerned. Tango goes to Bill and Smith pisses Tango off as she didn't do jack shit, and Tango is upset as I am while Eddie goes to Chantel's place and sees she's being humped by another man, and she chats with Eddie and gives him a watch as a retirement gift, and he asks her to go with him to Connecticut, and she chooses not to and kicks him out. And I'm getting kind of bored as this movie kind of falls apart as it's already been doing. Eddie almost commits suicide until he sees the missing redhead girl, whose name is actually Cerie, he saw earlier, and follows the motherfuckers to where she was captured with another woman and stops them from drugging the two females, and he kills the two abductors while he calls Sal, and as it turns out he's up to something bad. He gets shot while his friend is following him and tells him to knock it off, while Tango goes after a criminal named Red and chases him down and tells him he's a cop. Big spoiler there. And Red gets killed, as does Tango, by Sal's friend, who didn't know Tango was a cop, and he finds Sal dead, as this climax left a bad taste in my mouth. Now it's time for my rating. I'll give this movie a 4.7 out of 10. The dialogue is the best thing about this movie, as it feels like real life, and I don't really like the cops in this movie, but I like Don Cheadle and Wesley Snipes' characters, as Wesley Snipes is the best thing about the movie, as far as the characters are concerned, and I don't like most of these characters, as they're so damn flat. Training Day was shot much better than this movie did, as the cops in this movie must have learned from Denzel from that film to be a corrupt cop, which is cheating for director Antoine Fuqua to remake Training Day in the first place. And the cinematography looks bad in this movie, and it is a long movie at 2 hours and 12 minutes, and some of it could be in the editing room floor. At the end of the day, the movie was bland, and I felt cold, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and unfortunately, I wanted to like this movie better than I did, and this is, again, a non-recommendation. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Southpaw, and until then, please, hands up, no shooting.